Question: DS. Is x greater than y? Condition 1. Absolute value of x is greater than y. Condition 2. X is greater than absolute value of y. Solution. Let's solve this DS question using the variable approach. Second property of absolute value. A is less than equal to absolute value of A. Or negative A is less than equal to absolute value of A. These cases are true for all values of A, first observation. When A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A is greater than B is greater than C, and when A is greater than B is greater than C, then A is greater than C. Second observation. When x is greater than 0, absolute value of x equals x. Third observation. Let's apply the 3 steps suggested previously. Follow the first step of the variable approach by modifying and rechecking the original condition and the question. We have to find out whether x is greater than y. Follow the second and the third steps. From the original condition, we have 2 variables, x and y. To match the number of variables with the number of equations, we need 2 more equations. Since conditions 1 and 2 will provide 1 equation each, C would most likely be the answer. Recall 3 principles and choose C as the most likely answer. Let's take a look at conditions 1 and 2 combined. Condition 2 tells us that x is greater than absolute value of y, and we get absolute value of y is greater than equal to 0, since every absolute value is greater than or equal to 0. So we get x is greater than absolute value of y is greater than equal to 0, and x is greater than 0 by using the second observation, and from condition 1, absolute value of x is greater than y, we get x is greater than y and yes as the answer since x is greater than 0 by using the third observation. The answer is unique, yes, so both conditions combined are sufficient by the common mistake type 1, which means that the answer must be in terms of a unique yes or no. Thus, C seems to be the answer. However, since this question is an absolute value question, which is also one of the key questions, also by tip 4, trivial conditions usually is not the answer. That is, C is not the answer. We should apply CMT 4A, which states that if answer C is found too easily, either A or B should be considered as an answer. Therefore, let us check each condition. Condition 1 tells us that absolute value of x is greater than y. If x equals 2 and y equals 1, we get 2 is greater than 1, which is yes. However, if x equals negative 2 and y equals 1, we get negative 2 is less than 1, which is no. The answer is not unique, so the condition is not sufficient by the common mistake type 1, which means that you get both yes and no as the answer. It is not sufficient. Condition 2 tells us that x is greater than absolute value of y. We know by the first observation that x is greater than absolute value of y is greater than equal to y, and by the second observation we get x is greater than y and yes as the answer. The answer is unique, yes, so the condition is sufficient by the common mistake type 1, which means that the answer must be in terms of a unique yes or no. If the question has both C and B as its answer, then B is an answer rather than C by the definition of DS questions. Again, this question is a 50 to 51 level question, so understanding how to solve it is critical for attaining a high score on the GMAT. Do not forget tip 1 and CMT 4 A or B when writing the test. Condition 2 alone is sufficient, so B is the correct answer. Answer B.